Hello and welcome to the home of the Ghost Owl as we get to part 2 of the special category in our faction focus series for the Empire of Man in Warhammer the Old World. So we already looked at a bunch of special category units, so let's see what the remaining units are for the Empire. So first up are the Demigryph Knights. So they've got good strength, toughness, attacks and wounds with the low ballistic skill. Troop type is monstrous cavalry and the base size is 50 by 75 and the unit size is a minimum of 2 and a maximum of 12. Equipment wise, they have hand weapons, heavy armour, shields, wicked claws and barding, which will take them to a 3+ armour save. They may take halberds, which is an interesting option for a mounted unit, or lances. They can also take full plate armour, which I think is really important. That would get you to a 2+ armour save, and they may take a full command group. The Demigryph Preceptor can take up to 50 points of magic items, and they can have a magic standard also up to 50 points. Special rules. The usual ones for heavy cavalry, which countercharge, first charge and swift stride, but they also have fear. So fear, an enemy unit charging that has a lower unit strength must take a leadership test. If failed, it cannot charge. An enemy unit in combat that has a lower unit strength must take a leadership test. If it's failed, then they are at -1 to hit. So there's no doubt that Demigryph unit, it's a hard hitting, durable unit if you take the full plate armor. But this does come at a cost of a unit of 6, with full command group and full plate armor being 399 points, which is equivalent to 12 inner circle knights, with lances, full command and stubborn, and they get veteran, drilled, and they reroll 1s to hit. Right, so I can have double the number of knights. I get them with stubborn, veteran, drilled, and they reroll 1s. For me, it's a no-brainer of which one I would prefer. So overall, I'm not a fan of the Demigryph aesthetic either. So I like those Empire Knights, the Inner Circle Knights, and I prefer their rules overall for the points cost. If you are taking Demigryphs, however, I would prefer to take the Halberds. These do require 2 hands, so that's going to impact with the shield, but therefore, taking the plate armor is really important because that maintains the 3+ in combat. But having the strength +1 and the AP -1 and armor bane 1 in every round of combat is worth it over the lances, which are only going to work obviously on the charge, and then you're back to the hand weapons. So given this is a monstrous cavalry unit and you could potentially go up against some tougher enemies, I think having that extra strength and AP is quite important. So and there's no extra points cost to take the halberds over the lances. In terms of a magic standard, I'd take the rampaging banner again. Like all the other cavalry options, there's nothing good in the Empire list, but re-rolling those charge rolls, you've got to make sure this unit is getting their charge in. Next up, the first of the war machines. So as a gunline style player, this is where we start getting interesting. Stats wise, good toughness, low initiative and leadership. Troop type is war machine, and base size is 50 by 75, but the crew are on 25 by 25s, and it comes in a unit size of 1. Equipment is hand weapons and great cannon, and you can make it a veteran so they can re-roll failed leadership tests. So, special rules, skirmishers, which means it can adopt a skirmish formation. So, as a player that tends towards defensive gunline armies, I often take quite a few war machines in my army list. The great cannon is a great choice. 60-inch range, strength 10, AP -3, armor bane 2, with the cannon fire, cumbersome, move or shoot rules. Multiple wounds is D3 +1. Now this is a significant improvement over normal cannons. So you saw the normal cannon in the Dwarven Mountain Holds faction focus. Well, this is a great cannon. So you gain range, strength, AP, and an extra multiple wound. Adding to this, the ability of Grape Shot, just makes the cannon more flexible than it would first appear, although the range of that's quite low. It's for those sort of emergency scenarios. Maybe you're being threatened by a fast cavalry unit, flying monster, for example, or something like that. In an Empire army, this provides the much needed high strength, multiple wound damage to deal with those monsters, behemoths, monstrous infantry and cavalry. So a great cannon, definitely recommended. It's a good source of high strength, multiple wound damage. Next up is the mortar. So it's got good toughness, low initiative and leadership. It is a war machine. It's a 50 by 75mm base and a 25 by 25mm crew with a unit size of 1. Equipment wise is a hand weapon and a mortar, and it may become a veteran. So skirmisher can adopt skirmish formation. So mortars are the cheapest war machine available to the Empire, being 30 points less than a great cannon. However, even with the bombardment special rule, which is indirect fire, I'm not the biggest fan of this unit. Range is 12 to 48 inches, strength 2, strength 6 on the centre of the template, AP minus 2, so it's got good AP with armor bane 1, so it's AP minus 2, minus 3 on the centre of the template, and an armor bane on the top of that. Indirect fire, compass and move or shoot, multiple wounds D3, and a 5-inch blast template. It's a big old template. So it can hit a lot of models, right? A 5-inch template can hit a lot of models. You've got the normal rolling to see if you hit, if you're under the template, right? And you're going to automatically hit more because there's going to be more that are fully under. And also it means that because bigger templates, scatter's going to be less of a problem, right? Because even if you scatter a bit, it's big enough that you're still going to hit models. The low strength, however, is a problem. When I'm looking at my army list, I'm looking at my war machines to fill in the capability gaps I have in my army. So what I'm really looking for is high strength stuff, which this doesn't have. It's got the good AP, but there are other sources of better strength weapons to deal with massed infantry regiments. So that's why we're taking our missile infantry and our melee infantry and stuff like that. So, and there's wizard spells. I'm normally taking a couple of wizards. So to be honest, overall, I think there's better options than taking the mortar in that regard. But there's no doubt against certain armies, this could be absolutely devastating. It's just the issue of that low strength. Now, while more expensive and in the rare category, the Hellblaster volley gun and Hellstorm rocket battery would also be a preferred war machine to deal with those massed infantry units. And there you go, ladies and gentlemen, that brings us to the end of the special category. We've got one more category to go, which is the rare category. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, give it a thumbs down. Let me know why in the comments down below. And as always, if you want to see more content, hit that subscribe button. It's really, really important for me, but it's totally free for you to do. It takes a few seconds as well. So thank you in advance, and thank you to all those that have already subscribed. You've been watching The Ghost Hour. Tune back in as we move to the last category of the Empire Army list, which is the rare units.